success shouldn't feel this exhausting. If you're winning on paper, but burning out behind the scenes, you aren't failing. You're stuck in a psychological bottleneck called a hurdle of stop. I've been there. On the outside, things look great, but I was secretly burning out, convinced I was just lucky, and waiting to be exposed as a fraud. I realized I didn't have a business problem. I had a mindset block. Whether it's imposter syndrome, perfectionism, or fear or failure, these aren't just feelings. They are growth bottlenecks. Identify your specific hurdle and get one immediate action step to regain your momentum today. Go to tuepodcast.net/quiz. That's tuepodcast.net/quiz to take the 3-minute assessment and get your report now. Salutations, School Believer. Do you have a dream of becoming an entrepreneur, but don't know where to start or even what to do? Where can I gather information quickly about what's in my zone of genius? Don't worry, School Believers. I got you covered. Go to tuepodcast.net/AI prompt and check out an amazing set of AI prompts that will give you ideas, information, and articles to help you get across that start line. Once again, go to tuepodcast.net/AI prompt to get you started now. Good luck, School Believer. Hello there, School Believer. Hey, if you're anything like me, I am just so tired of going from screen to screen to screen, trying to figure out my analytics for all of my social medias and trying to figure out where I can put any and all my energies to get as much reach as I can. Well, I think I've finally found the solution. Elementary Analytics. That's right, Elementary Analytics. Now, at a single press of a button, I can see all my social media analytics from Google to Twitter to Facebook, all my important information all on one screen. All on one screen, can you believe it? And if you really needed to, you could print charts for any possible meetings you might have. If you want to learn more about this amazing program, go to tuepodcast.net/EA for a 14-day free trial with no credit card needed. That's tuepodcast.net/EA for a 14-day free trial. Try it right now and see what it can do for you. Undiscovered Entrepreneur, episode number 30. We have made it to 30. Woohoo!
That's the journey. It's a wild one. There's a lot going in and out of this. Number one, I mentioned that last time I was on the show, that describing what Enolve is quite difficult because it's really difficult to imagine what it could look like and everything. And so in that aspect, with my conversations with people, I've made a lot of progress, being able to figure out just the right words that help people quickly understand what it actually is, and that's been a journey. And I wish that could go faster somehow, because if I had those words that I have today, if I would have had them 6 months ago, I would just be at a different place. But I don't know, somehow discovering these words to describe it, that's just a huge part of the process.
Welcome to the Undiscovered Entrepreneur, the podcast where brand new entrepreneurs come to life and could quite possibly be discovered. Join me, DJ Scoob, and the rest of the Scoob Believers as we help these new businesses become a reality. And now, away we go! Hello, Scoob Believers, and we have made it to episode number 30, that nice round number 30, I love it. Alright, so we are actually doing another Where the Heck Are They Now episode. That's right, Where the Heck Are They Now? And today we're actually doing a follow-up episode with Oliver. Now, if you remember, Oliver is the owner and maker of one of the only, and I think the only collaborative problem-solving apps there are out there. So I'm really interested on seeing how far along he's actually come since we talked to him last. I think it's actually been a little longer than 6 months, closer to probably a year, but we're going to see what Oliver's been up to. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's do our follow-up episode with Oliver. Salutations, Scuba Believers, and we are back again with, this is one of my best follow-ups, I know it, and it's with Oliver. Hey, Oliver, how are you?
Hey, I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. I've been excited for this as well.
All right, awesome. It's so great to see you again after this amount of time. I know it's been a little bit longer than 6 months, but that's okay. Sometimes it's a little hard to get a hold of people, but that's good. That's good. It means you're busy. But I do have one real serious question to ask you. Are you still a Scuba Believer?
You know what? Now more than ever.
All right. Thank you so much, Oliver. That's awesome. Thank you for continuing to be a Scuba Believer on the Undiscovered Entrepreneur. Now, just in case this is the first time anybody's talked to you or understand who you are, let's do a little bit of a reintroduction about who you are and what you do.
Sure. Well, my name is Oliver Siegel, and I'm building Enolve together with my team. Enolve is the world's only problem solution directory. That means it helps you to quickly find a solution to any problem, and even you can use Enolve to create new solutions to unknown problems. It works by you being able to publish problems and publish other solutions separate from that and connect them to goals. This way we create this network, which is then going to be a problem solution directory called Enolve.
Oh, wow. That is amazing. And I've actually been watching you a little bit and building Enolve, and you've been making some great strides over the last few months about what's going on. Can you tell me, in the last 6 months, what experiences you've had kind of putting things together for Enolve?
Yeah, I mean that's the journey. It's a wild one. There's a lot going in and out of this. Number one, I mentioned that last time I was on the show, that describing what Enolve is quite difficult because it's really difficult to imagine what it could look like and everything. And so in that aspect, with my conversations with people, I've made a lot of progress being able to figure out just the right words that help people quickly understand what it actually is, and that's been a journey. And I wish that could go faster somehow, because if I had those words that I have today, if I would have had them 6 months ago, I would just be at a different place. But I don't know, somehow discovering these words to describe it, that's just a huge part of the process.
And I don't think you'd trade that time for anything else, because you wouldn't be where you are today if you didn't go through that adventure. So that's amazing.
Of course, yeah, it's like a learning experience, right?
Yeah, it's always a learning experience. Everything that we do, and we're glad we got there. When we get to the end, we wouldn't change it for anything else. So, in the last 6 months that you've been putting Enolve together, what is one of the most memorable experiences that you've had putting this together? Is there something that kind of sticks out and says, hey, I remember that. I'm going to remember that forever?
Yeah, great question. I would say definitely it's the positive feedback we've been getting from people when they see it the first time and understand it, right? There's people who said, this is what the world needs. And people said it's amazing to them, blowing their mind. It's going to help a lot of people. They wish a solution like that had existed. And, so it really seems to hit a good spot for people in terms of what they've been looking for, what they want, what seems to be needed in the world, according to many people. And so it's great to put something out there in the world and just ask people, hey, what do you think of that? And then to have such a positive response. Of course, it's not always positive. Sometimes it's a little bit critical, skeptical. Sometimes there's some legit concerns about it. But really the positive ones, they're what keeps me going and what gets me excited. And it's like, yes, I'm onto something. This is going to help people. People want this. People need it. Great.
That's amazing. And it's really important to get that customer feedback too, especially when you're building something that's kind of, one of the first of its kind too. So you got to make sure it's what people want and what people need. But it sounds like you're on the right track for what you're doing. So that's really good. I appreciate that. Now, let me ask you just something. On a personal level, for yourself, what kind of changes have you kind of noticed for yourself going through this adventure? Have you noticed anything personal that you've changed from when I talked to you last to now?
That's a really difficult question to be honest, because self-reflection is always like, well, you look at yourself and it's always colored and filtered by the emotions or the current state of mind that you're in, right? And so It's quite funny. Just before you released this last episode of the podcast with me, just the night before that, I got some really negative feedback, and it really made me question myself, my approach, and everything. And then I listened to the episode, and of course, the entire episode was filtered for me through that lens. So I had to then, ask a friend and ask them for their opinion to give me that reflection again to kind of neutralize that and balance it out, right? And so if I'm going to be out here saying now, oh, you know what? No, 6 months ago or whenever we talked, I've had it all figured out. I've had it figured out ever since. Look, that's why I came up with Enolve, right? I mean, I can come out here and claim that, but then also just 5 minutes ago, I told you how figuring out those right words, how to describe it, is a learning experience, right? So it's the only constant is change. So, that's where it gets a little difficult to answer that question. And have I learned new things? Have I changed some things about myself? Yes, probably. But other things also have most likely stayed the same, if not even stayed more the same than ever before, right? Like I've doubled down on what I believe and what I stand for. So it's a little bit of both.
Good. It's important to kind of reflect back. That's why I kind of do my podcast this way, because it gives you an opportunity to look back to see where you are there from before and compare it to where you are now and kind of get that feeling like, you have improved, you have changed, things are a little different, but you've taken those experiences and added on to what you're doing now, and just the building of the personality, the building of yourself, and you could see that change. Like when I've started this, I've seen a huge change in myself from when I started podcasting at episode 0 to the one where I just released with you recently. The difference is my personality, the differences in my delivery of even talking to people live, not just, here on the computer, but just my friends and family too. I've seen a huge change in the way I perceive people and I talk to people. My vocabulary has changed a little bit, even things like that. So I think it's really important to take those experiences and put them on top of what you're learning now, and being able to look back and compare yourself, not to other people, not to people that's already taken the journey 10, 20, 30 years from now, but compare yourself to yourself from back then. Compare yourself from a couple days ago, compare yourself from 6 months ago. Don't compare yourself to other people, because you'll never really reach there if that's where you're trying to compare yourself to. So that's really good that you're doing that. Now, let me change the question just a smidge, but on a professional level, what has changed since the last time I talked to you on a professional level?
I would say my understanding and knowledge of entrepreneurship and what's all needed to build a company of the scale that I'm looking to build. There's a lot that I've learned in the process, and actually just quite recently, literally these past couple of days, I've had to look deeper into company financing and funding and the different legal structures that you can use for that, and what are some of the established paths to take for that. And so this stuff gets a little bit complicated. Like when you first dive into it, you're like, oh, what's pre-money, post-money, save, convertible note, all of this stuff. It's really confusing, but then you just have to sit down and kind of learn it and figure it out and see, okay, what's my vision here? What works best with the market, and so on and so forth. And it can get frustrating, actually, because it seems like, come on, you guys have been doing this for what, decades? Like, does it really have to be so difficult to figure this out? So that gets a little frustrating, but I think I'm learning, I'm moving forward, and my output in terms of the presentation of what I'm doing is going to improve over time.
That's amazing. That's awesome. It's so good to see that we don't change just as a personal, but we also change as a professional. And we do have to learn that. It's kind of like on-time learning, where you're learning it as you go. And when you get to a point where it's something you're not too sure about, you go find the research and then come back to it and be able to fix that problem that we've had. So I'm big on on-time learning, on constant learning. And it sounds like we all do that as entrepreneurs. We're always learning and growing as things go on. So this is going to be kind of a similar question, but a little bit different at the same time from the one from before. Have you had any new crises or pitfalls within that time frame that we talked about from the last interview to this one, I mean, do you have one or two that kind of stick to your mind?
I feel like we're about to have a therapy session here, and so we're gonna go beyond the scope of the podcast and especially the time frame. No, I mean it's I have a hard time answering that question because of the nature of the question and what we're building, and therefore also kind of what I represent and embody. Because we're talking, you're asking me right now for a problem that I've had and how I've solved it, right? And that's literally what we do as a company, right? We ask people for what is a problem that they've had in their life and what's the solution they found. So it's kind of like the same thing here that's going on. Now, that said, because I came up with Enolve, because that's how I see the world, where everything is just kind of problems connected to solutions. Of course, I mean, that's a choice I can make to use this mindset. But let's say that's just how I operate and how I see the world. That means basically every single day I see multiple problems and how to solve them. So then, if I reflect over the last 6 months, which was the biggest problem there? Well, I mean, there's a couple that stand out, certainly, but at the same time, every time I find a solution to a problem, I just jump right into the next problem. That's literally the most direct path in terms of growth and progress, I think, if you just always jump to the unknown and to that which is uncertain, right? And so right now at the moment, like I said, that's getting actual professional investors on board. So what's the difficulties there, and how do I speak to these types of investors, and what type of words do I need to use? How do I present everything? On the path until where we are today, it's actually been a little bit in terms of team building. So I've had a co-founder, but then that didn't end up working out, and actually that was quite frustrating how that went down. But then on the other hand, I also found a lot of other really well-aligned team members now. So that's exciting. And then also what I said before, expressing and describing what it is that we're working on. And so finding the right words that make it clear, that help people to be able to understand it, be able to visualize it, and to see the potential and the value in it. That's also been a really difficult challenge.
Yeah, it sounds like you've had some difficult challenges. I was thinking while you're saying that, it's like, who helps the problem solver? Who helps I'm trying to how to say this right. Who helps the person that's solving the problem? If they have a problem, who do they turn to? And it's just it kind of gives you time to think about that. I've run into that a couple of times too, where it's like, I mean, anybody that meets me knows I have a superhero syndrome where I want to swoop in and save the day. That's just what I do. I love doing that. But then when I have a problem, who swoops in to save my day? So it's kind of tough to think about when you're the problem solver that has a problem. So I could see where you're coming from there. But it sounds like, even though you do have a problem, you use that as a teaching tool for yourself. And then for anybody else that could possibly be coming through the same problem too, you could tell them what problem you had and how you solved that problem, and then they could learn from that as well. So even though we all experience those problems, we could always turn it into a teaching tool. And when you are scared of something or you're not sure about it, I know for me, I dive right into it. I want to get in there. Even though I'm scared of it or I'm not sure about it, I always use that as a catalyst to go forward and learn something new. That way I could use it for future events. So that's good stuff, Oliver. I thank you so much for that answer. That was a really great answer. I appreciate that.
I turned it right back on you. Everything you just said is great. Like, who helps the problem solver, and the way you outlined that's perfect. And like I said, in terms of describing what we're doing with Enolve, it's always good to have that reflection and that feedback from other people. How would you describe it with your words, what I just said, and that's how we're having a conversation right now as well. So good stuff here. It's synergies.
That's right. That's exactly what it is. So this is actually one of my favorite follow-up questions. So now that you've had this journey up to this point, from when you started to now, you've experienced lots of different things, experienced new types of people. But if you can go in a time machine and go back to Oliver from, say, 6 months or 10 months ago, what would you tell him? What's the one or two words of advice for Oliver from before that you would express to them?
That's a great question. And it reminds me of what I tried to describe earlier, but then we fall right back into it's like the path is your goal, right? So if I would tell myself 6 months ago what I know now, I don't know if it wouldn't just simply take 6 months for myself to explain that to me. And then here I am back at that same place, right? I mean, a little bit in terms of how should I describe what Enolve is? For example, this problem solution directory and quickly find solutions, right? There's certain phrases and sentences that I've discovered are simple enough to be understood relatively well, yet they don't really, they don't have to go so deep. Because back 6 months ago, I would often dive really deep into the philosophy of what it all means and what the purpose of it is and the nature of the universe and everything. So that kind of was a little too much, to kind of keep it light. We're like, hey, this is a way for you to help you solve your problems so you don't feel stressed out. It's a lot nicer to have these easy words. So that's something that I would definitely send back to my past self, where it's like, hey, use these much easier to understand words. And then also what I was just saying in terms of finding investors and that process and how to go about it. I'm starting kind of the learning process just now. I could have started that process, I think, 6 months ago as well. And then maybe I'd be more funded by now. But at the same time, I don't know if in terms of positioning, which is, niche and positioning and messaging, all of those marketing terms, they also relate to investment, because investing is just one particular kind of sales and marketing. And so once again, it's all about finding those right words. And would anyone in the world have known these correct words 6 months ago? I don't know. Maybe there would have been some copywriter who'd be like, "Oh, you're talking about Enolve? Explain it to me real quick. I understand it." And then they come up with these words. Maybe that person would have existed, or maybe that person is just going to have to be me, who goes through that process. And then at the end of the journey, I have those right words, and that's what it took. So I don't know. But yeah, I hope that answers your question and is not too confusing.
No. Answers my question perfectly. It really goes into the learning process. Even though it just seems like it took you this long to get those words right, if you didn't go through this process, it's not just about getting the words right, too. It's the experiences behind getting the words right. I mean, if you don't have those experiences to learn how to get the words right, as you go on further and further, you're going to realize that you wish you had that knowledge, not just about what the words are, but the experience you had to get to the words. So, I mean, it's still important to have that experience and to take that journey to get to the right words, so you can look back on it and says, well, not only did I learn the right words, but I learned about what actually goes on with those words. So I really wouldn't look too far into, I wish I would have had the words sooner. I think I would look more along the lines of, I'm glad I had the experience to get to the words. And the other thing I'd like to point out too is having things that are simple to understand makes it a lot easier to bond with and figure things out. Once you get to those simple, straightforward words, instead of getting too philosophized about it and kind of these big stories, you keep it simple, it's like there's an acronym, KISS, keep it simple, stupid. I love that one. That's one of my favorites. It really, really stands out once somebody can understand something. I know if I don't understand something or it gets me frustrated when I don't understand something, then I want to just like do away with it because I don't understand it. It gets me frustrated. But if I could keep it simple, I can bond with it easier. I can understand it a lot easier. I'm more likely to take advantage of whatever it is because I understand it. So that's good stuff. So I'm going to ask you something here. Do you remember what your 6-month goal was when we first talked?
I reviewed your questions beforehand, and I totally don't, even though I just recently listened to my own episode. So whatever goal I stated then, it still didn't, reach me to where I can now summarize it. But I think maybe it was trying to get a beta version out there and finding team members. It was around those lines, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, you wanted to get something published. You wanted to get something rolling that's not necessarily live, but something out there for people to kind of interact with. So that was your biggest thing too. You did mention a little bit about getting a team together, but I think the biggest goal was getting something published so you could start, revising it and updating it and making it a better product. So, did you get there?
I would say yes, absolutely. I mean, we've published a lot of things. We have a beta version out and live right now, and we've gotten feedback from that beta version. Based on that feedback, I've then further published a new video showing what the final product would probably be like. And that right now is my most favorite publication. But still with that, there's another problem, which is it's 7 minutes long, which, oh my God. So I'm not sure if I'm going to get to that today because, 7 minutes in the day and age of TikTok where everything is just like 30 seconds. And with that, I fortunately came up with another much shorter way of communicating that again yesterday. So I think I can boil it back down to 1 minute now. And yeah, and then, the more, just like you said, KISS, the more digestible something is, the easier it is to distribute and the easier it is to reach more people and get more feedback. So yeah, I think I've definitely achieved those goals, even though it's been a little bit longer than 6 months, right? Because we've not quite met that time window. But yeah, I think I've achieved those. So that's exciting. That's
amazing.
Positive.
Congratulations. I always love hearing that when I've set a goal for one of my guests, that they actually met that goal. That always does me a good heart. I love that. Congratulations, Oliver. That's fantastic. Now, I know it's a 7-minute video, but is there any place that we could actually look that video at right now? Is it live to the point where I can actually get a link to it or something, or?
Absolutely. It's not an easy link. I don't even know the link. I just have it pinned to my clipboard. But if you go to my Facebook profile, it's pinned right at the top there. So on my Facebook profile, just the first post that you see is that 7-minute video. And it shows you exactly what Enolve is going to look like and how it's going to work. And people watch this video and they said, I've listened to your content for the last year. And it wasn't until now that I understand what you're building. So, apparently it's like they say pictures say more than 1,000 words. And then if you have a video, well, that's like 30 pictures a minute, right? So there's a lot that gets communicated in that short time.
All right. Now, if anybody actually wants to see that, look into my show notes. I'll definitely have a link to it in my show notes. That way y'all can see that. And later on, when Oliver puts out that 1-minute video, we'll go ahead and link that into the show notes later on too. So, all right. So now that we've talked about your past goals, I would like to talk about future goals for, say, the next year. What do you think the next year looks like for you, my friend?
Great question. I love focusing on the future because that's always that's where the excitement lies. But in this case, I really appreciate you pointing out the positive wins that we already have under our belt now. I've set myself a goal for reaching 10,000 users on the platform by the end of the year. So that's, about 7 months from now, if I look at the clock here. Mm-hmm. Beyond that, I haven't really set those specific goals yet. I mean, there's going to be a lot of milestones in between in terms of making sure that we actually can sell the product, right? That we have paying customers for it as well, beyond the users. And that requires for the MVP to be published, which I hope is going to be happening in the next month or two here, that we have that we upgrade from the beta version to the MVP that we actually can then make money off of, that people can actually buy that with premium features and everything. And then, getting lots of users onto the platform so that we see this is something that can work for a lot of people. And with that, increasing the company valuation with investors coming on board and doing fundraising and all those steps required along the way. Does that sound concise enough? I know I ramble a little bit, but that's what's in my mind.
We want to know what's on your mind. That's why we do this podcast. So it sounds like to me that one of your main goals is to get about 10,000 users by the end of the year. Does that sound about right? So yep. If you were able to accomplish that, what does that mean for you? I mean, what does that mean to Oliver? Yeah, sorry.
I hate to say this, but I lost myself a little bit. This is all I do. this is me. I embody this thing and everything. And so it means, well, it means success, and it means the foundation for our next step of success, right? I mean, the project here is to solve every problem, to make problem solving a thing of the past, to where problem solving is no longer difficult and scary and everything, but instead, just like, the web, the World Wide Web changed how we have access to information. And then, like smartphones came out, and now we can talk to our phones and we can ask Google a question and Google will have the answer. We can talk to Alexa and Alexa will order that thing for us online. So that's like, what what marvel of technology, right? I mean, such convenience, such luxury, such wealth. And so, what's that got to do with me? I don't know. I can't tell you what that's got to do with me. I mean, for me personally, well, I just do my thing. It's gonna be nice if I have like a little more disposable income, which right now I don't. I'm like super duper broke personally, right? Because everything goes directly into the company. I don't really pay myself a salary or anything. So that's what it means for me personally. But again, it's not about me, I don't think. It's about the impact that this can have on the world and how it can improve other people's lives. And yeah, make problem solving a thing of the past and hopefully move us closer one step to a utopia world where, everyone just has the ability to enjoy their lives with very little undesirable adversity, because that's important to keep in mind. Sometimes we like the struggle and we like the, we voluntarily go out and climb a mountain. It's going to be difficult, but we like to do it just for the adventure itself, right? But if your life depends on you climbing that mountain, I don't know, that it has a different vibe to it, right? And so that's where I'm hoping that we can really make things a lot more easygoing and kind of like fun and playful rather than a struggle.
That's one of the things I've really come across when talking to entrepreneurs, and how much they want to help the human race, and what they're doing and what they're trying to accomplish in one way or another. Some have bigger ideas than others. Like yours is huge, dude. I got to tell you. I mean, your idea for having a problem-solving app is just profound. And being able to just ask a question, to present a problem to somebody and have that answer, it's just coming up with the answer is just mind-blowing. So, kudos to you for what you're doing and how you're doing it. And I really appreciate the way you answered that question too. Monetary it kind of takes a back seat. It's more important to be able to help those people, and in turn, they will help you. And I really think that's really what it boils down to. All right, Oliver, now is our favorite part of the show. I want you to kind of do a little advertising for yourself. This is your time to shine again. So let's go ahead and talk about your company. Ready, set, go.
Thank you. My name is Oliver. I'm the founder of Enolve. We are the world's only problem solution directory. You can find us on the web at enolve.io. You can find us on Instagram, also enolve.io. We have a Twitter. You can also check out my personal profiles, oliversiegel.com, has all of them listed. And hopefully it's going to be in the show notes for you. And that's what we said, right? If you see it, you will understand it. Problem solving is pretty vague to most people. But once you see it in action on the screen, where you see those blue, red, and green boxes and how they connect on the screen, you'll realize, oh, this is kind of like maybe like Twitter or something like that, except optimized for problem solving. So once you see it, you'll understand it. So check it out with the links provided.
All right. Thank you so much, Oliver. Thank you, Scuba Believers, for another great show. Make sure you stay tuned for the follow-up. Oliver, thank you very much. And everybody have a great evening, okay? Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Oliver. It's so good to follow up with Oliver and see how far he's come along with his entrepreneur adventure. And it's great to see that he is actually hitting his goals. And you got to kind of keep an eye out for that new app that he has Enolve, just so we can support him in finding what he's trying to accomplish. I really think it's going to be a great, great asset to just about anybody who wants to take advantage of having a good way to figure out problems and get them solved. So here's a little bit of what I've been working on for a while. I do now have an open Facebook group. I'm really excited to have a community to be able to help and talk, maybe help you out on your entrepreneur adventure. So if you go into Facebook, the group is called Scuba Believers, big surprise. Put in a request to be part of the community. The community is basically going to be just answering questions. I know a lot of entrepreneur-style groups that are out there are basically just running advertisements, and that really bugs the crud out of me. So I don't want to be doing that in my type of community. It's going to be people just helping people. That's all I really want, to be able to help you and have other people help you as well. So look into that, join my Facebook group, and see what we could do to help each other keep our entrepreneur adventure rolling. Also, I've been dipping my toe in a little bit more and more in coaching. I've actually coached a couple of people, and it's been very successful. I've been really happy with results on that. So what I'd like to do is I'm probably going to put a coaching out here real soon for you to listen to, so you know exactly what to expect if you decide to have me coach you. If you want to be coached by me, I could definitely work something out for you. If you want to reach out to me at my normal places, we can maybe put something together for you. Also, I have another 5-star review that just came out very recently. So I want to thank VV Places for a 5-star review. Thank you very much for doing that. I really appreciate that. It really helps me get out there. Hopefully more people could listen and know what we got going on right here. And one of the last things I'd like to talk about real quick is I've been trying to find ways to run a quick podcast in between shows. So what I have is, if you go to my website, uepodcast.net, over on the right-hand side, there's a place where you can leave a voicemail. It has a little microphone on there. It's black. If you click on that and ask me a question about your entrepreneur adventure, there's a good chance I'll actually feature that question on my podcast and answer that question for you. And I'd really like to use that as something that I could put in the spaces in between podcasts. So if you could do that for me, I would really appreciate it. Ask me any questions you like about your entrepreneur adventure, about getting started, about what to do with certain problems that you might have. And there might be a way I could work out and help you out. All right, so we're just going to go over the regular stuff now. If you want to get a hold of me, you could reach me directly on Twitter at DJScoob2021. If you want to drop me an email, uepodcast.net2021@gmail.com. You could find me on Facebook at ScoobMI, Facebook.com/ScoobMI, or something like that. I'm still kind of working that part out. And if you want to become a patron and help me help others, please visit my Patreon and quite possibly get coached by me, or just get some of the behind-the-scenes look at what I do in my podcast. And you can find that at tuepodcast.net/Patreon. All right, Scuba Believer, thank you for another great episode, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the very next one. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye. Hello there, DJ Scoob here, and I just want to personally say thank you for listening to my program. I really hope you learned something. Tune in 2 weeks to listen to another brand new entrepreneur. And remember, I can, I am, I will, and I'm doing it today.
Gracias, adiós.
Gracias, adiós. Thank you, goodbye. There we go.
Sí, yo hablo español.
Sí, yo hablo español. All right.
Lo siento.
Lo sientos. Pardon? No? Oh, sorry. Okay.
Lo siento.
No lo
No,
siento.
Lo siento.
De nada.
De nada is you're welcome. Hola, mucho gusto. Mucho gusto back? Yep. There we go. You just say mucho gusto back.
Sí, lo siento.
Sí, lo siento. Yes, I'm sorry. That doesn't sound right. I am sorry. Oh, I could have put the I in there and it would have been okay. Hola, habla inglés? No lo siento. There we go. Sí, and there's a picture of milk there, so we're going to say leche.
Leche.
Gracias. There we go. Gracias, Juan. De nada, Luis. Okay. ¿Tú habla inglés? No lo siento.
Lo siento.
Lo siento. Sorry. There we go. Got it that time.
Sí, lo siento.
I am sorry. There we go. No. Oh, yes. I forgot the yes. Gosh darn it.
Sí, lo siento.
Okay, give me another chance. See, I am sorry. Yes, I am sorry. Okay. Yay. And I got a text in the middle of that. That's okay. We got it. As a worker of 2 full-time jobs, running a podcast and coaching, every minute counts in my day-to-day. It's hard to be consistent in any of my social medias. And at this point, I cannot hire a social media manager. Pinnacle AI to the rescue! I've been using Pinnacle AI for a couple of weeks now and seen big improvements in my outreach and consistency in all my social medias. Do you want to save time and increase your productivity too? Go to tuepodcast.net/AI for more information. Save yourself time and grow your brand. Try it now and see what it can do for you. Hello, Scuba Believers. Let me ask you a real quick question. How many cups of coffee have you had today? 3, 5, 7? And let me guess, you've got a Red Bull in the other hand just in case, right? Yeah, I see you. Now, here's the truth bomb nobody wants to hear. You're not building a business. You're building a caffeine dependency. Listen, I get it. When you're grinding 12, 14, 16-hour days, you're building something from nothing. When you've got payroll to meet, investors to impress, and visions that won't wait. You need fuel. But what if I told you that the fuel that you're using is actually slowing you down? What if the very thing that you think is keeping you sharp is actually making you dull? Enter Rise Coffee. This isn't your grandma's mushroom tea. This isn't some hippie wellness trend. This is science meets performance. And here's what makes Rise different. Less than half the caffeine of a regular cup of coffee. But here's the kicker. You won't miss it. 6 organic powerhouse mushrooms, including cordyceps, what Olympic athletes use, and lion's mane, what Silicon Valley biohackers swear by. Sustained energy that doesn't spike and crash. We're talking smooth, clean power from morning to moonlight. Crystal clear focus without the jitters. Imagine closing the deal with calm, confident mind instead of the caffeine chaos. Gut health and immune support, because what's the point of building an empire if you're too sick to enjoy it? So here's the challenge to you. Stop borrowing energy from tomorrow. Stop running on fumes and call it a hustle. Stop wearing your caffeine addiction like a badge of honor. Real entrepreneurs optimize, real entrepreneurs adapt, real entrepreneurs win. You can't win if you're crashing at 2 p.m. while your competition is just getting started. Break the cycle. Head to risesuperfoods.com right now and use code PODNA15 for 50% off your first order. That's PODNA15 for 15% off. Try it for 30 days. If you don't feel the difference, if you don't feel sharper, calmer, more focused, more alive, then go back to your 6-a-day cup habit. But I'm telling you, we won't, because once you feel what real energy feels like, you'll never go back. Ditch the addiction, fuel your empire, and rise up. Rise Coffee, energy that builds, not burns.